No one knew that NBA's greatest enemies had secretly saved someone's life, until they learned who that woman really was. On that cold winter night in 2009, everything seemed normal in Chicago. Michael Jordan was sitting at home, watching a game on television. Meanwhile, LeBron James was resting in Cleveland after practice. Between these two men wasn't just geographical distance, there was years of rivalry, years of animosity. But that night, the same phone call would shake both of them to their core. But the truly shocking part was what happened after that phone call. The atmosphere in Jordan's mansion was heavy that December evening. He had just finished reviewing some business proposals, the weight of his empire pressing down on his shoulders. The house felt empty despite its grandeur. His wife Juanita had divorced him years ago. His children were living their own lives, and the silence was deafening. Basketball had given him everything, but had it cost him his soul? When Jordan's phone rang, the screen displayed unknown number. Normally, he wouldn't answer. Too many crazy fans, too many people wanting something from him. But that night, something felt different. There was an energy in the air, a premonition that made his stomach turn. "Hello?" he answered, his voice carrying the weariness of a man who had conquered everything but found peace nowhere. The voice that responded was broken, fragile, like glass about to shatter. "Mr. Jordan, I've tried every possible way to reach you. Please listen to me. I don't have much time left." There was such desperation in the woman's voice that Jordan immediately muted the television. The commercial for his latest shoe line seemed insignificant now. "Who is this? What do you want?" "My name is Sarah Martinez. I live in Los Angeles, and tonight I'm planning to die." That's when everything changed forever. Jordan felt his blood freeze in his veins. This wasn't some prank call or media stunt. The raw pain in this woman's voice was real, authentic, terrifying. He had faced down the toughest opponents in NBA history, had stared down Larry Bird in the playoffs, had conquered his fear of failure time and time again. But this was different. This was life and death. "Mom, please don't do anything rash. Talk to me. What's happening?" Sarah continued, her words tumbling out between sobs. "I lost my only child 6 months ago. Car accident. My husband couldn't handle the grief. He blamed me for letting Marcus go to that sleepover. He left me 3 months ago. I lost my job as a teacher because I couldn't function. The house is in foreclosure. I have nothing left, Mr. Jordan. Nothing." The name hit Jordan like a punch to the gut. "Your son's name was Marcus." "Yes," Sarah whispered. "Marcus Antonio Martinez. I named him Marcus because it lies." "Your son's name was Marcus." "Yes," Sarah whispered. "Marcus Antonio Martinez. My family had disowned me for marrying a Hispanic man. I was young, scared, alone, but I watched you in the finals that year. When you said never give up, when you cried after winning, I felt like you were talking directly to me. I named my son after you, hoping he'd have your strength." Wait, you can't miss this detail. Jordan's own son was also named Marcus. This coincidence sent chills down his spine. But there was something else, something in Sarah's voice that reminded him of his own mother when she used to worry about him as a child. The same trembling, the same unconditional love mixed with desperation. "Listen, ma'am, please don't make any hasty decisions. I can help you." "No," Sarah cut him off, her voice breaking completely. "It's too late for that. I've already written the letters. I've already made peace with God. I just wanted to thank you before I go. You gave me 17 years of strength. You helped me raise a beautiful boy who loved basketball, who loved life, who believed in never giving up just like his hero." Jordan felt tears forming in his eyes, something that hadn't happened since his father's death. "Sarah, listen to me. And Mr. Jordan, I have one more request." Jordan held his breath, afraid of what she might ask. "What is it? Could you somehow tell LeBron James, thank you from me too? I know he's your rival. I know you probably hate each other. But Marcus, my Marcus, he loved both of you. He used to say you were the greatest of all time, but LeBron was the king of his generation. He loved basketball because of both of you. Could you tell LeBron that a mother thanks him for giving her son joy?" You haven't seen the biggest surprise yet. In that moment, something extraordinary happened inside Michael Jordan. This woman was asking him to reach out to his greatest rival, the man who threatened his legacy every single day, the player who represented everything he was no longer. LeBron James, younger, stronger, more socially conscious, more beloved by the new generation. But faced with a mother's dying wish, all of that petty rivalry seemed insignificant. "Sarah, don't hang up. Don't move. I'm going to call LeBron right now." "What? You would do that? Stay on the line, please. Give me 2 minutes. What you're seeing now is nothing." Meanwhile, in Cleveland, LeBron James was in his home gym, shooting free throws in the darkness. It was his meditation, his way of clearing his mind after difficult days. The 2009 season had been brutal. The pressure to win a championship for Cleveland was crushing him. Every night he fell asleep wondering if he'd ever be good enough, if he'd ever escape Jordan's shadow. His phone buzzed. When he saw Michael Jordan on the screen, his heart nearly stopped. They had barely spoken since LeBron entered the league. Jordan had been cold, distant, protecting his legacy like a fortress. "Michael, is everything okay?" "LeBron, listen to me very carefully. I have a woman on another line who's about to commit suicide. She specifically asked me to thank you. I need your help." "What? What are you talking about?" "No time to explain everything. Can you do a three-way call right now?" LeBron didn't hesitate. "Of course, whatever you need. You won't believe this." Within minutes, two of basketball's greatest competitors were united for something far more important than any game, any championship, any legacy. Sarah heard LeBron's voice join the call and broke down completely. "LeBron, is it really you?" "Yes, it's me, Sarah. Michael told me you're going through something terrible. I'm here. We're both here. But don't you two hate each other?" Jordan and LeBron exchanged a look across the miles. They couldn't see each other, but somehow they both knew the other was thinking the same thing. How silly their rivalry seemed in the face of real human suffering. "Basketball stays on the court," Jordan said firmly. "What matters right now is that you're here, and you're important." LeBron added, "Sarah, I don't know what you're going through, but I know pain. I know what it's like to feel alone, to feel like the world is against you." The incredible truth unfolds. For the next 4 hours, these three strangers became a family. Jordan shared stories about his father's murder, how he had wanted to quit basketball, how he had struggled with gambling as a way to cope with pressure. LeBron talked about growing up without a father, about the weight of expectation from an entire city, about the fear that he'd never be good enough. But most importantly, they listened to Sarah, really listened. She told them about Marcus's first basketball game, how he had worn a jersey that was half Bulls, half Cavaliers, because he couldn't choose between his two heroes. She described how he used to practice Jordan's fadeaway shot in the backyard, then immediately switched to copying LeBron's driving layups. He used to say, Sarah whispered, that if Jordan and LeBron could ever be friends, it would prove that any problem could be solved. But the real turning point came when LeBron asked the question that changed everything. "Sarah, if Marcus could see you right now, if he could speak to you right now, what do you think he would say?" The line went quiet for a long time. Jordan and LeBron waited, their hearts pounding. Finally, Sarah spoke, her voice barely audible. He would say, "Mom, remember what Jordan taught us. Never give up. Remember what LeBron taught us. Be strong for others." He would say that giving up isn't what champions do. Jordan felt something break open in his chest. "Sarah, your son sounds like he was an amazing kid." He was everything good about both of you, and nothing bad about either of you. LeBron's voice was thick with emotion. "Sarah, Marcus is still with you. Every time you choose to keep fighting, he's there. Every time you help someone else, he's there." And then Jordan made a decision that would change all their lives. "Sarah, I'm going to make you an offer, and I need you to really think about it. Tomorrow, I'm flying to Los Angeles. LeBron is going to meet me there. We're going to see you in person." "What? You can't be serious." "I'm completely serious, and I have a job offer for you." "Michael," LeBron interrupted, understanding immediately what his rival was doing. "I have a job offer too." Sarah was crying so hard she could barely speak. You would really do that? For me?" "For Marcus," Jordan said simply. "For the kid who loved both of us enough to wear our jerseys at the same time. For every parent who's ever lost a child," LeBron added. "For every person who's ever felt alone." The miracle was just beginning. The next day, something unprecedented happened in NBA history. Michael Jordan and LeBron James boarded the same private jet to Los Angeles. The flight was awkward at first. Years of rivalry don't disappear overnight. But as they talked about Sarah, about loss, about responsibility, something shifted between them. "You know," Jordan said as they flew over Kansas, "I've been watching you play. You're better than I thought." LeBron laughed nervously. "Coming from you, that means everything." "And LeBron, the way you handle the media, the way you use your platform for social issues, I never learned how to do that. I was too focused on just winning. You taught me how to win, Michael. Everything I know about clutch moments, I learned from studying you." They landed in Los Angeles as something they had never been before, allies. But Sarah's story was about to get even more incredible. They found Sarah in a small apartment in East LA, a far cry from the suburban home she had lost. When she opened the door and saw both legends standing there, she collapsed to her knees. You really came. Jordan knelt down and helped her up. "We told you we would." Jordans keep their word. So do kings, LeBron added with a smile. The three of them spent the afternoon in a tiny coffee shop nearby. Sarah told them about Marcus's life, how he had been accepted to UCLA on a partial basketball scholarship, how he had planned to study education and become a teacher like his mother, how he had volunteered at a local community center teaching basketball to younger kids. "He sounds exactly like the kind of person we need," Jordan said. "Sarah, I meant what I said about the job. My brand is launching an education initiative. We need someone who understands kids, who understands struggle, who understands hope." LeBron nodded. "And I'm serious too. My foundation in Akron just opened a new school. We need teachers who get it, who know that basketball can save lives, but education saves communities." The real surprise was still coming. Sarah looked between these two legends, men who had been at each other's throats for years, now offering her a future she had never imagined possible. "I don't understand. Why would you do this for me? I'm nobody." Jordan shook his head. "Sarah, you're the mother of a boy who loved us both. That makes you family, and family takes care of family," LeBron added. That day marked the beginning of Sarah Martinez's new life. Jordan hired her to oversee youth education programs for the Jordan brand. LeBron brought her to Akron to help design curriculum for at-risk kids. But more importantly, they had given her something she thought she'd lost forever: hope. Months passed, and something beautiful began to grow. Sarah threw herself into her new work with the passion of someone who had been given a second chance. She developed programs that combined basketball with academic achievement, using the sport Marcus had loved to inspire kids who might otherwise fall through the cracks. Jordan and LeBron stayed in touch with her regularly. What started as duty became genuine friendship. Jordan would call her before big business meetings, asking for her perspective on how decisions might affect kids. LeBron would send her videos from his school, showing her the impact of programs she had helped design. And slowly, something else began to happen. Jordan and LeBron started talking to each other, not just about Sarah, but about basketball, about life, about the responsibility that came with their platforms. You know what's funny? LeBron said during one of their three-way calls with Sarah, "We spent all these years competing against each other, when we should have been competing together against the real problems." Jordan laughed. Marcus was right. If we could be friends, any problem could be solved. But the story was about to take another incredible turn. In 2010, Sarah met a man named Derek Collins at a grief counseling session. Derek had lost his wife to cancer and was raising his teenage daughter alone. They bonded over their shared pain, their shared hope, their shared commitment to honoring the memories of those they had lost. Derek was amazed when Sarah told him about Jordan and LeBron. "You mean Michael Jordan calls you? Like, actually calls you?" "Every week," Sarah smiled. "And LeBron emails me constantly. They've become like older brothers I never had." When Sarah and Derek announced their engagement in 2012, both Jordan and LeBron insisted on attending the wedding. The media went crazy trying to figure out why two rivals were at the same small ceremony in Los Angeles. "No comment," Jordan told reporters with a rare smile. "This is about family." The years passed, and their bond only grew stronger. Sarah and Derek built a beautiful life together. Sarah's work with both the Jordan brand and LeBron's foundation flourished. She became a nationally recognized expert on using sports to reach at-risk youth. Derek's daughter, Maria, accepted Sarah as her stepmother, and together they created the family that grief had once torn apart. In 2015, Sarah published her first book, The Game of Life: Lessons from the Court to the Classroom. Jordan wrote the foreword. LeBron wrote the afterword. The book became a bestseller, with all proceeds going to youth education programs. But the most meaningful moment came in 2016, when Sarah and Derek announced they were expecting a baby. "If it's a boy," Sarah told Jordan and LeBron during one of their regular video calls, "we want to name him Marcus Michael, after my first son, and after the two men who saved my life." Jordan was quiet for a long moment. "Sarah, that would be an incredible honor." LeBron wiped away tears. Marcus would be so proud. And then came the phone call that would reveal the greatest surprise of all. It was December 15th, 2024, exactly 15 years after that first phone call. Sarah was now a grandmother, successful author, and nationally recognized advocate. Her son Marcus Michael was a healthy, happy 8-year-old who played basketball with the intensity of his namesakes. LeBron was at Lakers practice when his phone rang. He saw Sarah's name and smiled. Their weekly check-ins had become one of his favorite traditions. "Hey Sarah, how's my godson doing?" "LeBron, he's amazing. He made the school team, and you should see his jump shot. But that's not why I'm calling." Something in Sarah's voice made LeBron pause. "What's going on?" "LeBron, I need to tell you something. Something I should have told you and Michael 15 years ago, but I was too ashamed, too scared." LeBron's heart rate increased. "Sarah, you're scaring me. What is it?" "My real name, my maiden name, is Sarah Collins." The name hit LeBron like a physical blow. "Collins? Sarah, are you related to?" "Tom Collins was my father." LeBron, the referee, the one who everything changed in that moment. LeBron sank onto the Lakers bench, his legs suddenly unable to support him. Tom Collins, the referee who had made some of the most controversial calls of both his and Jordan's careers. The man they had both publicly criticized, the official who had seemed to have it out for them during crucial games. "Sarah, your father was Tom Collins." "Yes." Sarah's voice was barely a whisper. "And LeBron, there's more, much more." LeBron's mind was racing. "Does Michael know?" "Not yet. You're the first person I've told. But LeBron, I need you both to know the truth about that night 15 years ago." "What truth?" "I didn't call you randomly. I didn't just pick your names out of a phone book. I called because my father made me promise, the revelation that would shatter everything they thought they knew." Sarah continued, her words tumbling out after years of being held inside. "When my father was dying of cancer in 2008, he was consumed with guilt. He told me things, LeBron, things about calls he made, about pressure he felt, about mistakes that haunted him." LeBron was barely breathing. "What kind of things?" "He told me that some of his calls against you and Michael weren't just bad judgment, they were influenced, not by gambling or fixing games, but by his own prejudices, his own fears about what you both represented." "What do you mean?" "My father grew up in rural Pennsylvania in the 90s. He was raised with certain beliefs. When he became an NBA referee, he thought he had overcome those beliefs. But when he saw you, a young black man with incredible power and influence, and when he saw Michael before you, changing the entire culture of basketball, it triggered something ugly in him that he thought he had buried. The truth was more painful than anyone could have imagined. Sarah was crying now, but she forced herself to continue. Before he died, he made me promise to find a way to apologize to both of you. He said he had cost you games, maybe even championships, because of his own internal demons. He said he couldn't die in peace, knowing he had let his prejudices affect his calls. LeBron felt like he was drowning. Sarah, why didn't you tell us this when you first called? Because I was a coward. I was planning to kill myself that night, partly because I couldn't live with the shame of what my father had done. I couldn't face telling you the truth. I thought if I was gone, I wouldn't have to carry his guilt anymore. But you called anyway. I called to thank you and Michael because even though my father had wronged you, you had still inspired me, still given me strength. I thought it was the ultimate irony. The two men my father had hurt the most were the only ones who could save his daughter. And then LeBron understood the cosmic justice of it all. Sarah, do you realize what this means? Your father spent years making bad calls against us, and 15 years later, Michael and I ended up saving his daughter, and not just saving me, LeBron. You gave me a new life. You gave me purpose. You helped me become someone my father would actually be proud of, instead of someone carrying his shame. LeBron immediately called Jordan. Michael, sit down. Sarah just told me something that's going to blow your mind. As LeBron explained, Jordan listened in stunned silence. When the story was finished, Jordan was quiet for a long time. So Tom Collins' daughter is the woman we saved? Yes, and she's been carrying this secret for 15 years. Yes. LeBron, do you know what I think? What? I think Tom Collins orchestrated this whole thing from beyond the grave. The conversation that would change everything forever. An hour later, the three of them were on a video call. Jordan from Chicago, LeBron from Los Angeles, Sarah from her home in Akron, where she now worked full-time for LeBron's foundation. Jordan spoke first. Sarah, I want you to listen to me very carefully. Your father was human. He made mistakes. Bad mistakes that affected our careers. But you know what? In the end, he raised a daughter who had the courage to reach out in her darkest moment. He raised a daughter who has spent 15 years making the world better for kids. He raised a daughter who brought two enemies together and turned them into brothers. LeBron nodded. Sarah, your father's calls might have cost us games, but saving you gave us something worth more than any championship. It gave us purpose. It gave us each other. It gave us you. Sarah was sobbing. Do you forgive him? Do you forgive me for not telling you sooner? Jordan and LeBron looked at each other through their screens. They had shared so much over the past 15 years, not just Sarah's journey, but their own evolution from rivals to friends to brothers. Sarah, Jordan said, there's nothing to forgive. Your father made mistakes, but look what came from those mistakes. Look at the life you've built. Look at the kids you've helped. Look at what you've done with Marcus Michael. LeBron added, and Sarah, you brought me and Michael together. Do you know how many years we wasted being enemies when we could have been allies? Your father's mistakes led to something beautiful, the moment that would define their legacy. There's something else, Sarah said, something I need to show you both. She left the screen for a moment and returned with a box. These are my father's things from his refereeing career. I've been carrying them around for 16 years, not knowing what to do with them. She pulled out a worn notebook. This is his journal from his final season. Listen to this entry from March 2008, just 2 months before he died. Sarah read aloud. I can't undo the calls I made. I can't give back the games I took away from Jordan and James. But maybe, someday, I can find a way to make amends. Maybe Sarah will be strong enough to do what I couldn't do, to apologize for me. Those two men deserved better from me. Basketball deserved better from me. I pray that somehow, my daughter will be the bridge to forgiveness that I was too proud to build myself. The silence that followed was the sound of healing. Jordan was the first to speak. Sarah, your father found his way to redemption through you, and he gave us the greatest gift imaginable, LeBron added. He gave us each other, and he gave us you. Sarah closed the notebook. There's one more thing in here, a letter he wrote to both of you, but never sent. Read it, Jordan said softly. Sarah opened an envelope with shaking hands. To Michael Jordan and LeBron James, I am dying, and I am a coward. I made calls against both of you that were influenced not by what I saw on the court, but by what I carried in my heart. You deserved better from me. Basketball deserved better from me. I cannot undo my mistakes, but I pray that someday, someone will find a way to tell you that Tom Collins died knowing he was wrong, and that both of you were greater than even I could diminish. I hope my daughter will be braver than her father. Signed, a referee who failed you. The redemption that 15 years in the making. After Sarah finished reading, the three of them sat in silence, processing the weight of what had been revealed. Finally, Jordan spoke. LeBron, you know what I think we should do? What? I think we should retire Tom Collins' referee number, not because he was perfect, but because his imperfection led to something perfect. LeBron smiled through his tears. And I think we should start a foundation in his name, the Tom Collins Redemption Foundation, for referees, for athletes, for anyone who wants to make amends for their mistakes. Sarah was crying so hard she could barely speak. You would do that, after everything he did? Jordan nodded. Sarah, your father spent his final years understanding that he was wrong. That takes courage. And he raised a daughter who had the courage to save herself and bring two enemies together. That's a legacy worth honoring. The foundation that would change basketball forever. 6 months later, Jordan, LeBron, and Sarah announced the Tom Collins Foundation for Second Chances. The foundation would provide counseling for sports officials dealing with bias, fund programs for underprivileged kids, and create pathways for people to make amends for past mistakes. At the press conference, Jordan said, "Tom Collins made mistakes that affected our careers, but his daughter taught us that mistakes don't define us. What we do after the mistakes defines us." LeBron added, "Sarah Collins Martinez saved our souls 15 years ago. Today we honor her father by committing to save others." Sarah spoke last. "My father died believing he was beyond redemption. Today I know that no one is beyond redemption if they have the courage to face their mistakes and the commitment to do better." The ending that no one saw coming. Marcus Michael Collins Martinez is now 8 years old. He plays basketball with intensity that reminds everyone of his godfathers, Jordan and LeBron, but more importantly, he plays with a joy that reminds everyone of his namesake, the original Marcus, who loved both legends equally. On weekends, Marcus Michael visits the Tom Collins Foundation, where kids learn basketball from coaches who have made mistakes and found redemption. Jordan and LeBron are regular visitors, not as legends but as men who understand that the greatest victories happen off the court. Sarah recently published her second book, Referees, Redemption, and Second Chances, the Tom Collins story. The book includes the full story of that night 15 years ago, her father's journal entries, and essays from Jordan and LeBron about forgiveness and friendship. The legacy that will last forever. Every December 15th, the anniversary of that first phone call, Jordan, LeBron and Sarah have a video call with Marcus Michael. They tell him the story of how a referee's mistakes led to his mother's salvation, how enemies became brothers, and how the worst night of someone's life became the beginning of something beautiful. "Uncle Michael, Uncle LeBron," Marcus Michael always asks, "Do you think Grandpa Tom is proud of us now?" And every year both legends give the same answer. "Marcus, your grandfather's greatest victory wasn't any call he made on a basketball court. His greatest victory was raising a daughter brave enough to save herself and wise enough to bring two families together. The truth that changes everything." Today, when people ask Jordan and LeBron about their friendship, they smile and say the same thing. Sometimes your greatest enemy gives you your greatest gift. Sarah Collins Martinez continues to work with at-risk youth. Derek is now a vice president at the Tom Collins Foundation. Marcus Michael has already said he wants to be a referee when he grows up, to make better calls than Grandpa Tom. And somewhere, in whatever realm exists beyond this life, Tom Collins watches his daughter, his grandson, and the two men he wronged, and finally knows peace. The final lesson that will echo through eternity. This story teaches us that redemption is always possible, forgiveness is always available, and sometimes the worst things that happen to us set up the best things that will happen to us. Tom Collins made mistakes that affected two of the greatest basketball players in history, but those mistakes led to his daughter calling those same players on the worst night of her life, and that call led to a friendship that has changed thousands of lives. Marcus Michael Collins Martinez carries the names of three people: his uncle Marcus, who died too young, Michael Jordan, who saved his mother, and LeBron James, who gave his family hope. But most importantly, he carries the legacy of Tom Collins, not the referee who made mistakes, but the father who raised a daughter brave enough to transform those mistakes into miracles. And that's how NBA's greatest enemies became basketball's greatest brothers, all because a referee's daughter had the courage to make one phone call on the darkest night of her life. The GOAT debate will never end. But this much is certain: on December 15, 2009, both Jordan and LeBron won something more valuable than any championship. They won each other. They won Sarah. They won the chance to turn basketball rivalry into human redemption. And every time Marcus Michael Collins Martinez makes a shot on his backyard court, wearing a jersey that's half Bulls, half Lakers, he proves that his uncle Marcus was right all along. If Jordan and LeBron could be friends, any problem could be solved. Final words from Sarah. Sometimes the darkest nights lead to the brightest dawns, and sometimes one phone call can change not just your life, but the entire world.